but the culture is to make sure that that success is recognized, but also part of that larger HSC community. Like that's really the core of what the culture is.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
First and foremost, it's my daily interactions with students, and that's where I fill my bucket on a daily basis. It's amazing the talent that we get to work with at the school, which is always humbling, but it's also, as I said, fills my bucket. And then I would say working with a faculty and staff who are so incredibly adaptive and always put kids first and always go the extra mile. That to me is what working at independent schools is all about. And so to see that every day and to see the growth of teachers into leaders in all different areas of the school is really gratifying. And then I love the fact that in the role that I have here, I also get to be a member of the Hamilton community, and that's really important to our school that we're a good partner. So whether that's through our alumni network or other things that we do, we take that really seriously, that we're a proud partner in Hamilton. So those are sort of three things on a high level that I love about the role that I have here. Well, when I first joined, we had a plan for enormous campus expansion. And so I knew that in my first few years, we were going to be able to completely transform the campus. And so within my first 3 years here, we'd added 134,000 square feet of new facilities. At the time, one of the largest capital campaigns and building projects in case. So that was how I spent my first few years, raising millions and building buildings. And so to be able to see that almost 10 years later now, see the kids enjoying that, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see. The athletic complex, which was the second phase of the build, has is a massive triple gym. It's 100,000 square feet of senior school, and then 34,000 square of the athletic complex. So brand new state of the art senior school, learning commons, music areas, arts areas, and then the triple gyms and the accompanying classrooms and arts studios were the second phase of that build. So it was basically double the square footage of the school in 3 years. Typical day when we're here, face to face, my morning routine is very set. So no matter what's going on, I stand out at what is the Foxcroft Circle, which is our main drop-off area. So whether it's 35 below or 35 above, I'm out there with my morning coffee, greeting the kids as they come off the bus and greeting the parents. And that's the one part of my routine that never changes. And it's just a fantastic way for me to start my day. And then a big part of what I do, I always call myself the highest paid cheerleader in Hamilton, is that I'm really just walking around, in and out of meetings. But anytime that I'm not in something formal, I'm out walking around, interacting with the students and popping into classrooms and doing all those sorts of things. And so kids always say, like, do you even work around here? I just see you walking around all the time. But that to me is what I do. And then I got into teaching because I love to coach, and so I still coach as well. So in the winter term, I coach the girls hockey team, so that's a big part of it. And then in the evenings, there's often, we have 4 different schools within the college, and so there's often a parent night or a music or a board meeting or something. And so the evenings are usually filled with more of those sort of community things. For about a quarter of our students, so I was just looking at the data, so we have 140 graduates this year, 35 of them are what we call lifers. And so those are kids that have started with us since they were 3 or 4 years old and have gone all the way through. And so that's annually a quarter of our population. That is their journey. They've never known anything else. And I think that's one of the things that makes us unique, is that you can start here in diapers and and work your way all the way through to cap and gown. But we have entry points at various points in the school. Obviously, our biggest one is grade 9. We usually bring in about 25 to 35 new grade 9s. That's our biggest entry point, but there are other entry points along the way. Because we have 4 schools too, there's just different times that families choose to join us. We're quite unique actually in that our early ed, we have 2 parallel streams. We have a Montessori program, and we also have a junior school, and both of those funnel together and they come together into grade 5 in the middle school. So the 2 separate streams both start at 18 months, 16 months, and then go to grade 4, or Montessori 9 as we call it, and then they come together to form the grade 5 class. Really, it's almost non-existent. We would have one of the highest retention rates amongst faculty and staff in K schools. I just signed a bunch of cards. We recognize people 5, 10, 15, 20, and I signed 2 cards with people who have been here for over 40 years, if you can believe that. And one of the other things about that makes HSC kind of special is that we don't outsource anything. So all of our employees or all of our staff, so bus drivers, cleaning, kitchen, everybody's an employee of ours. And so we have people that have worked here. We have one gentleman who's worked here since he was 15 years old. He's been here for 44 years or something crazy like that. So people come and they stay, which is great. That's what you want. I can think of our head boy right now. So head prefect is kind of like our head of our student leadership. And this is a young man that I got to know when he was 9. I coached his basketball team when he was 9. And I remember turning to my co-coach, who's the principal of our Montessori school, and saying, that kid is going to be the head boy one day. Like, he was just such an incredible person. He was so mature. And I just wrote a letter for him. He actually just won Western's President's Scholarship, which is their highest scholarship. And I had written a letter for him for that award. And I said, in 25 years of this, I've never met a kid like this, who is so much embodies the school. He's an incredible athlete, incredible student, incredible musician. Like, his parents used to pick him up at a basketball game in Toronto, an HSC basketball game, have him put on his number 1 dress in the car, and then he'd be on the stage playing in the jazz band that night. Like, a kid like that, who is just, but also the most humble kid that you'd ever meet. So he's just got it all, but he doesn't, like, he's just so humble. He's got great parents too. But to see a kid like that grow from all this potential as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, and then completely realize it while still staying that humble, is off the charts. Amazing. And we have tons of kids like that who are just like, it's humbling to be around them for sure. It's amazing. And I just actually got an email from an alum, and that's another cool thing about HSC, is that we have so many of our alum who are also parents at the school now, and so many alum who are faculty at the school now, which I think speaks very well of the school. But they are so passionate about wanting to help our students here, and wanting to help our alum as they transition in university. But so the very active mentorship program. But I'll give you a quick example. So we had a student graduate 3 years ago, brilliant kid, studying architecture and engineering at U of T. And so he emailed me about a month ago and said, I'm struggling to find, a summer work placement, because you've probably been reading, it's tough for kids out there right now. And he said, is there any way you can hook me up with a parent or somebody that could help, get me on the track. And so I emailed an alum, class of 1980, whose kids went through the school. They're not here anymore. And I said, look, this kid is brilliant. Do you mind just, taking him under your wing, showing him around? And within 5 minutes, absolutely give him my number. He gets set up. I get an email back from the alum saying, this kid is going places. This kid is brilliant. So I wouldn't be surprised that in 2 years when this kid graduates that he's actually working for this company. So it's like, if there's an HSC connection, drop everything and help. Like that's the attitude. It's amazing. It depends on the age where they come. So many of our kids start so little that they have very little input into that. It's really more about what their parents want. But as kids get to the age where they're part of that choice, what the students want is they want an academic challenge, right? And they want the support that you need to be challenged academically. But they want so much more than academics. Like they want the world-class facilities. They want the opportunities, co-curricularly, to be in bands, to be in clubs, to be in plays, to be on sports teams. Like they want the whole package. And they want a place that they feel like is going to give them an edge in terms of this broad set of experiences that's going to set them up well for post-secondary and for life. Like that's, if you talk about the kids, that are really involved in the decision coming into grade 9, for example, that's what they want. They want a path. Yeah, there's a couple of examples. One, if a student doesn't want to be here, it's not going to work, right? At a certain age, and I say this to parents all the time, like you can't force your kid to come here and expect that they're going to take advantage of everything that you're paying for. You know what I mean? And so at a certain age, that's a question that our admissions people will ask the kid. Is this your choice or your parents' choice? Because they really have to buy in. And then, we have a pretty robust learning services program, but our expectation is that students will be matriculating into some sort of post-secondary environment. So they have to have the capability within the supports that we have to be able to do the work. And because it's not, because it is such a high academic standard, it's often not fair to put a student in that environment if they're not capable with the supports that we provide to do it. It doesn't work. So we'd love to say that we have a program for everybody, but the reality is, you know, that's not true. The word that always comes up is community. That has a lot of elements of culture in it. Um, feeling connected. Feeling connected is what the culture is. Two quick examples of that. One, we just did a survey of our faculty to say, do you feel a connection to the college? And 99% of people surveyed said yes, which I think is amazing because the faculty culture is as important as the student culture, in my opinion. And then the second example is part of our strategic plan, the last version, was asking the students led by the prefects to come up with what the ideals were for the college. Like, what are the ideals that a student at HSC should live up to? And one of the 5 that they chose was community. And then we're in the process of updating our strat plan this year. And so I took it back to this year's prefects and I said, are these good? Do these need updating? And they focused in on the community one and added in some key elements, really more about inclusivity and being actively inclusive as being really important to them in that element of community. And that to me speaks of the culture. There are niches where anybody can find success here, but the culture is to make sure that success is recognized, but also part of that larger HSC community. Like that's really the core of what the culture is. Hamilton itself is becoming very diverse, and our student population reflects that. It's incredibly supportive. I just had 3 emails today from parents, just full of gratitude, and different, one Montessori parent, one middle school parent, and one senior school parent, completely unrelated, just saying like, you guys have done a great job this year, given the challenging circumstances. And we talk parent-school partnership all the time, and it's not just words. Like it really is. Um, it really is the fundamental element of the school is that homeschool partnership. And so we've been really lucky here. We have a very active parent volunteer group as well, which is really great. Our Parents Guild, they're actually having their final meeting tomorrow. Um, and that combined with our alumni group has a lot of parents in it. And it's great. Obviously everybody has their moments, right? Where it's not all roses with your kid, and sometimes that can get challenging. But what we always say to parents in those situations is we're going to listen, right? And we're going to work with you in the best interest of your child, right? But we will listen, and we gather a lot of parent feedback. We have a big survey out right now to parents about just the developing areas of our strategic plan, because if they're not on board with what we're doing, then why are we doing it? You know what I mean? Like, it has to be, the parents have to be seen and to be an actual equal partner in the experience of their kids here. Often when an administrator is meeting with a parent, it's because something else has fallen apart a little bit, right? And you can't work to a resolution that's a win-win or close to it unless you have a great relationship with those parents, right? So that's why I spend every morning outside, because you never know when you're going to need to rely on that conversation that you had 3 months ago and that relationship you built, in a situation where emotions are high. And anytime, even with my own kids, like if your kids are hurting and you're hurting, you tend to be, pretty emotional. And so our administrators build these amazing relationships with parents that they can have these challenging conversations, and everybody walks out of that room thinking, I was respected and my opinion was valued in that meeting. Yeah, we have we've spent a lot of time on our student code of conduct, and every family is provided with that every year. So we do our best to articulate out, how we're going to deal with those interactions. We have a great sort of team approach to that, from whether it's homeroom teachers, vice principals, counselors, to be able to bring a lot of um, voices to those situations, because sometimes an incident's not about fighting over the last brownie. It's about something else, right? And so it's a real team approach. And then the other element that we've incorporated a lot in the last 4 or 5 years is the idea of restorative justice, is that it's not always about a punishment, right? Especially age and stage appropriate. It's really about making all the parties in a situation, and sometimes that involves the parents as well, making everybody whole out of a situation. So I would say over the last 5 years, the biggest evolution is that it's always not a cookie cutter response that, well, you do that, you're out of here, you're suspended or whatever. It's much more thoughtful, and it's much more inclusive in terms of, what are we really dealing with here? I would say, honestly, the biggest one would be humility. The second would be sense of humor. Um, and a third would be like an incredible work ethic. It's that sort of, this is a fun place and it's supposed to be fun. I say that all the time. We're supposed to be having fun here. This is the school, uh, and we have a lot of success. But I think it's probably because we're grounded in Hamilton, which is a very humble, sort of blue collar place. Is that it's an excellence, but we're not out there. And sometimes maybe this is a detriment. Maybe we're not out there shouting it from the rooftops all the time because we're just naturally pretty humble about it. And I say this to our teachers, like, working at an independent school or going to an independent school is not for the faint of heart. Like, it is a lifestyle choice because it's a lot of work. Uh, because it's such a rigorous academic program, but we also have high expectations for co-curricular involvement for both the staff and for the kids. And so, you know, kids can have a full day of classes, have to hop on a bus to go to Port Hope for 2 hours, play a game, and have a physics test the next morning. Like you can only get through, if you're willing to work hard. And the more, kind of like the example about the student I shared with you that won the big scholarship, you have to learn how to budget your time, but you also, you have to be committed. I think it's great. We do one of the things that we've chosen to do with our community service has been to focus more locally, because Hamilton, is really has some really challenged areas, and so we've worked really hard to become a good partner in a lot of areas. We've a few examples. So we've had something going on in the high school for probably 15 years now called the English Conversation Circle, and a busload of our kids will go down into downtown Hamilton every week and teach um, English to new Canadians, new Hamiltonians, and those are year-long relationships, which we're really proud of. We do a lot of work with schools in the area that really struggle, like Adelaide Hoodless School. We've developed an amazing partnership with them where we're able to go down and the prefects every year are able to rally some Christmas presents, and we go down there and we give the Christmas presents to that group, and just to see the look on their faces, both sides, both our kids and their kids, and what that means. And other organizations like Good Shepherd and things like that, we're also heavily involved in. But it goes beyond that to me. Like, I think it's really important for a city like Hamilton that wants to grow and evolve to have a great independent school in the city. I think almost every doctor that moves to Hamilton to work at Hamilton Health Sciences or St. Joe's or whatever wants to know, is there a great independent school in town where my kids can go? And I think that's a really important part for a city of Hamilton, like Hamilton, that wants to grow, that there's a sort of a world-class um, school right next door to help spur that growth on. So um, uh, we like to see us as giving back to the city, but we also like to think that we provide just by providing this opportunity that we provide a service to Hamilton in terms of growth. Again, age and stage to me, it's about you really have to involve your kids in this uh, decision if they're old enough to realistically be a part of that decision, because it's so critically important that they're on board. And I don't mean give the kid the whole decision. That's not what I mean at all, because I do believe strongly that it should be this joint decision. But um, it's so important that we see that the kids want to be here, because there's so much to take advantage of, and the kids that find the greatest success are the ones that do that. And we can take the odd kid along that hangs onto the hangs onto the steering wheel on the first day and doesn't want to come in. Like, we can turn that around pretty easily in some cases. But to me, that would be the biggest thing, and to explore. Like, and a lot of it is about the family values, right? And looking at the ideals that we would have on the website, looking at our strategic plan, and say, is that something that resonates with me as a family? Because all the schools in Case in Ontario, the CIS schools, they're all amazing, right? You can't really make a bad choice. It's really about what is the closest alignment to me and my family's values, and that would meet the needs of my child. And I would also say that in a non-pandemic time, it's really important to get on the campus when the kids are there. You know what I mean? And just feel the vibe. Like, I can tell you all you want to know about what I think the culture is, but if you walked on the campus and you saw kids holding doors and saying, "Good morning, sir," and all those things that are just the way it is, that's culture, right? But you can't get that from listening to an old guy like me tell you what it's about. You got to come and see it.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.